Chapter 58, Anko Midorasha. It was the next day, and Yuna was currently leaning against a tree at training field 15 and was relaxing. It was already past 8 and Yuna could feel Anko observing her from afar. Seems like she wants to play another round. Oh well, let's make it short. Yuna's eyes slowly closed as her breathing grew calmer, and just a few seconds later, it seemed like she fell asleep completely. Anko used that chance to throw a senbon at Yuna that would leave a slight scratch on her cheek. Yuna, however, tilted her head to the side while sleeping, and as a result, the senbon would hit her straight in the face. She could feel how Anko started to panic and quickly approach her, but it was already too late and the senbon hit Yuna straight in the face. Shit kid, are you ALR? After Anko got a good look at Yuna's face, she stopped speaking. The senbon she had thrown was caught by Yuna with her teeth and she was currently holding it in her mouth like a certain jonin. You should really switch to less dangerous pranks, Anko. Instead of getting annoyed, however, Anko smirked at Yuna. There was actually poison on that, you know. Yuna paused for a moment and then took the whole senbon into her mouth. A few moments later she spat it out and caused it to get stuck into a tray. A mild paralysis poison, huh? No big deal. She casually stood up and dusted off her clothes, the poison seemingly having no effect on her. Anko, however, was more occupied with the senbon that was stuck into the tray. Does she know how to use hidden weapons? Spitting out a senbon with enough force to sink it into a tree isn't easy at all. Yuna could more or less guess what she was thinking, so she gave her own comment. Don't worry about that. I'm just very good with my mouth. Anko only raised her eyebrows at that unexpected innuendo. Was that formulated like that on purpose or was it a coincidence? I can't read her at all. Anyway, let's start the test, shall we? Since you wanted someone who specializes in infiltration and assassination, I decided to test your abilities in that regard. Since testing assassination is a little hard right now and we have nothing to infiltrate, I will test something that can be used for both. Seducing your target. I will transform into different people and you will have to figure out the best way to approach them. Hee hee, you damn brat. Let's see how you embarrass yourself trying to seduce someone. This should be fun. Yuna, however, had completely different thoughts. She just asked me to put her into my harem, didn't she? I don't think so. Hush now, I need to concentrate. I need to channel my inner pervert to release my full hero power. Right. Haha, sounds interesting, let's go ahead. Anko was slightly taken aback by Yuna's confidence. She especially felt that something clearly was wrong when Yuna looked at her and licked her lips like there was a remarkably juicy piece of meat in front of her. Oh okay, let's start. Anko made a ram seal and transformed into a thuggish-looking man. A scar on the face, greedy eyes, dirty clothes. It was pretty much Third D that gets defeated in a single frame together with his other third buddies. Yuna could only roll her eyes at the super easy difficulty level. She also made the ram seal and transformed as well. What was revealed was a mature-looking beauty, but her looks really weren't that important for that kind of target. The posture was important. Lowered head, nervous eyes, and shaky steps. That is what would truly attract a Third D. People he thinks are weaker than him. Yuna walked towards Anko with unsure steps. She was constantly looking left and right and was clearly nervous about the situation. Anko, meanwhile, was still dumbfounded at how easily Yuna switched personalities. She only awoke from her stupor when the transformed Yuna walked past her and slightly bumped into her. Anko immediately understood what she was going for and couldn't help but smirk a little. She immediately turned around to speak to Yuna. Hey you. You just bumped into me. Yuna seemed to be like a frightened bunny and turned around with fear in her eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't notice at all. Anko really wanted to compliment Yuna's acting but decided to keep going for now. Hee, a little sorry won't cut it, you know. That seriously hurt. Anko approached Yuna and slowly forced her back against a tree. Anko lifted one of her hands and pushed it against the tree right next to Yuna's face while closing the distance even further. The compensation will be quite expensive, but... Anko lecherously scanned Yuna's body with her eyes. I don't mind if you pay with your body. Her other hand shot forwards and grabbed Yuna's but causing her to deadpan. You are still aware that this is supposed to be a test, right? Anko's face immediately became awkward. ****, I might have gotten a little bit too into it. Anko, you are still grabbing my butt. All right, you definitely passed the first part. Let's go for the next one. Anko quickly took some distance and made the ram seal again. She really wants to get into my harem, doesn't she? After what just happened, I am not even sure anymore. This time, Anko went for another cliché. She turned into a typical rich, young master. Gaudy clothes, arrogant face, and a body posture that screamed, look at me, I am a big shot. Yuna had to admit that Anko was indeed very skilled in changing her demeanor. However, this was another easy target. Yuna quickly did the ram seal again and transformed. Another beauty appeared, but this time she was much more seductive. She showed a lot of skin and her assets seemed to be moments away from spilling out of her clothes. While approaching Anko, she was swinging her hips flirtatiously. Oh my Tilda, hello young master. You are looking quite heroic today. Anko couldn't help but take a step back. Yuna's first transformation already hit her pretty hard, but since Yuna was the passive party, Anko didn't think too much about it. Now, however, it was completely different. Yuna's enticing voice echoed in her head while her swaying hips captivated her and easily shattered her defenses. What the hell is happening? Why am I getting this flustered? Shouldn't I have more resistance against something like this? How can I get this shaken, even though I know what she is doing? Seeing how Anko was struggling more and more to keep a clear mind, Yuna almost started to chuckle. This was the difference between someone as ancient as her and someone whose age hasn't even reached the third digit. Yuna was analyzing where exactly Anko was looking during her approach and was moving in a way that made those body parts especially stick out. When seducing someone at a high level, a lot of body language was involved and Yuna could interpret and simulate all of it perfectly. Before Anko even understood what was going on, Yuna was already next to her and pressed Anko's arm between her breasts. Oh, my Tilda. Young master has quite a bit of muscle. Are you perhaps working out, Tilda? Hearing Yuna's voice right next to her ear, a shudder went through her whole body. Anko hasn't even noticed that she had dropped her transformation. Yuna moved in even further so her mouth was right next to Anko's ear. Anko, Tilda, come on Tilda, play with me Tilda. Yuna's needy voice almost drove Anko over the edge, but Yuna chose this moment to deal the killing blow. Big sis, Anko, let's play loots Tilda. After finishing that sentence, Yuna lightly bit into Anko's earlobe, which seems to be the breaking point. A bit of blood started to leak out of her nostrils as she jumped at Yuna, pushing her onto the ground. The moment Yuna reached the ground, however, she turned into a puff of smoke and left a bewildered Anko behind. She quickly scanned her surroundings and quickly found Yuna, leaned against a tree with a teasing smile on her face. Seeing Yuna's teasing smile, Anko realized what just happened and her face immediately turned crimson red. Why you, I did. Seeing how Anko was getting more and more flustered, Yuna couldn't help but chuckle a little. Haha, don't worry about it. In fact, Yuna approached Anko, lifted up her chin with her hand and gave a chaste kiss on the cheek. If you want to play, I don't mind at all Tilda. Anko was, yet again, dumbfounded, but recovered much faster this time. She couldn't help but laugh out loud when she heard Yuna's proclamation. Ha ha ha, not bad, Yuna. You are quite the pervert, I am impressed. As for having some fun together, I don't mind. Yuna nodded in satisfaction. Although Anko only became something like AF*, buddy, that was a decent start, for now. Oh right, there is something we totally forgot about. Yuna rolled her eyes at that. She had a pretty good idea of what Anko was talking about. You want to do the introduction, huh? Haha, of course. This has become somewhat of a tradition. Fine. Let's go. You start, I follow. Hee, I wanted to do this in the sensei role for a while now. My name is Anko Midorasha. I like dango and I dislike spicy food. My hobby is learning how to arrange tea ceremonies and conducting them. My dream for the future is... The atmosphere immediately grew more oppressive. Killing Orochimaru and completely freeing myself from his grasp. As soon as she said those last words, she regretted them. Shit, what am I doing? Why did I reveal that to Yuna? To Anko's surprise, however, Yuna only nodded her head. I am not surprised you want to get away from his influence. That mark on you feels truly disgusting. Anko was even more shaken when she heard that. Why you know about the mark? Yuna, however, only shrugged her shoulders. I am quite a powerful censor. I noticed it the first time we met. If you think I will discriminate against you because of that, you should first think about what kind of mark I am bearing. Hey, that is quite rude. Haha, don't be like this. No matter what kind of relationship we have, people will still think that having you sealed within me is a curse. You should have learned it by now not to bother about others. Yeah. I know that you are just spouting your usual nonsense to pacify someone. Hee, now that is just rude from your side. If it helps, it can't be nonsense in my opinion. Yuna felt how Kurama rolled his eyes but didn't say anything more about the situation. Yuna noticed that Anko had calmed down after her reminder and decided to start her own introduction. Well, might as well get my own introduction out of the way. I'm Yuna Uzumaki. I like my family members and friends. Additionally, I enjoy fighting and pranking people. I dislike people that think they are big shots because they are related to someone important. My hobby is playing around with ice, and as for my dreams for the future, there are 3 of them. First, I want to kill a certain man. Second, I want to build a harem for myself. And third, Yuna's presence seemed to swell as a dignified aura of power and confidence started to radiate out of her. Her chakra licked out and caused the ground around her to crack as she proclaimed her third drain. I want to surpass everyone who stands in my way and eclipse this world's most powerful being. As Yuna announced her last drain, Anko really wanted to laugh at how ridiculous it was, but she couldn't. She felt like the smallest bit of objection would result in her being crushed into the ground. Her instincts were telling her that only those that actually dared to oppose that drain had any right to speak up right now. What the hell is she? Just how strong is her will for it to feel this oppressive? Rather than a young girl, she feels like a warrior that went through hell and returned. For a split second, Yuna's fourth explanation on how she got her hands on that seal flashed through her head, but she quickly dismissed it. That is simply too ridiculous. Wait a moment. Didn't she just say something about a harem? Did I somehow become part of that? Now that I think about it, wouldn't it be pretty hot to sleep with more? No, Anko. Bad Anko. Calm down, control your desire. Even if I control it, somehow my desire still tells me that it would probably be pretty hot to sleep with more people all at once. Did I somehow get trapped into this without noticing? What the hell happened? Whatever, if it is hot, it is hot. That is all that counts. Chapter 59, How to Raid a Bandit Camp. It has been a few weeks since Yuna and Anko met. Yuna had expected Anko to take her offer immediately, but she seems to be hesitating. Does my age bother her? Should I just transform and attack her? That might be pretty fun, Tilda, considering my new body doesn't feel much sexual lust yet. I actually don't mind waiting, though. Oh well, Anko seems to be getting more and more pissed off by the D-rank missions, so I'm pretty sure another interesting event is right around the corner. The duo was currently in the Hokage's office while they waited for Hiruzen to choose a new mission for them. MHH, how about this one? The restaurant on the main street needs someone to help peel. Absolutely not. Seems like Anko finally snapped. Hokage-sama, please give us a real mission. At least make it C-rank. D-rank missions are made with team exercise between genin in mind. What point is there if there is only one genin in my team? Now, calm down, Anko. It is normal for genin to do quite a few D-rank missions so they can get used to the shinobi life. A genin, fresh out of the academy, simply isn't ready for C-rank missions yet and needs more training from the Jonin sensei. As soon as Hiruzen finished that sentence, he knew he messed up. Anko and Yuna were both looking at him like he was an idiot. Shit, I should have made up a better argument. Like, only genin with a certain amount of D-rank missions can take higher ranking ones. No, it appears that Yuna went out of her way to read quite a few of Konoha's laws. She might actually expose my lie. Hiruzen took another drag from his pipe and gave a long sigh. Fine, but don't tell anybody about this. At least not until I gave a C-rank mission to another teen, or those new teens will relentlessly annoy me about getting higher-ranked missions. Yes, old man. Hiruzen could feel his eyebrows twitch a little, but decided to ignore it. He took out a scroll that had a big C written on it and tossed it towards Anko. A simple scouting mission along Konoha's borders. Your patrol path is written on the scroll. The whole mission takes a week. If you find something suspicious, only engage it when you are confined. Hiruzen yet again cursed his big mouth when he saw the glimmer of excitement in Anko's and Yuna's eyes. Damn it, I should have told them to not engage under any circumstances. Hee, don't worry, old man. We will be real careful. Haha, indeed. Don't worry, old man, I, naturally, won't allow Yuna to encounter anything dangerous all on her own, hee. Hiruzen really wanted to say more, but he decided to simply give up. It's not like these two mad women will listen to me anyway. Might as well set them loose and see what happens. Although Anko occasionally goes a little overboard during her missions, she usually completes them pretty much without a flaw, so I'm not that worried. 2 days later, Yuna and Anko had started their patrol at Konoha's borders. Both of them were currently hiding inside a tree while observing a bandit camp they found completely out of coincidence. They just had to climb over a small mountain and cross a few kilometers of forest to reach it, so it was basically on the way of their patrol path. Truly a stupid mistake by those bandits to create their hideout in the middle of Konoha's routine patrol path. Well, before we charge and investigate this bandit camp, I need to know if you have killed a human before, Yuna. Yeah, I have, don't worry about that. More importantly, how do you want to do this? I can sense around 10 people that are probably used by these bandits to relieve themselves. I would rather not have a hostage situation on my hand, so we should probably do this stealthily. By the way, most of the bandits are slightly stronger than civilians, with 3 being at the genin level and the leader being a high genin. Your sensing skills sure are ridiculous, aren't they? Hee, of course. I have been dodging ANBU since I was 3 after all. Do you mind if I go after the boss? Killing the leader of a bandit group looks pretty good on the report of my first C-rank mission. Well, I don't really care. How confident are you in killing him? Killing him is 100%, and killing him without anybody in the camp noticing is also 100%. So, no worries. Fine, whatever. If you are that confident, then show me what you got. If you mess up, I'll just have to save your ass. No big deal. Yuna could only smirk at that provocation. She jumped down the tree and approached the bandit camp. She stealthily approached the two people guarding the gate, and before they could even realize the situation, two Yunas appeared behind them, covered their mouth and slit their throat, killing them instantly. She immediately stored the two bodies inside the weapon holster she had expanded with seals and then transformed into the two guards herself. Anko, meanwhile, couldn't help but be dumbfounded by how easy that looked from an outsider's perspective. One of the two transformed Yunas, meanwhile, was approaching the tent of this bandit camp's boss with a panicked expression on her face. She was just about to enter when she was stopped by the two guards standing in front of it. "Stop, the boss is busy right now. No one is allowed to enter." Yuna almost rolled her eyes when she heard that he was busy. Considering the sounds coming out of the tent, it was rather obvious what he was busy with. Yuna, of course, wouldn't be stopped this easily. Her panicked face grew more and more impatient. "I don't have time for this. Konoha's shinobi might be approaching our camp right at this moment. I have to report to the boss right now." The face of the guard immediately became stiff when they heard that. Having a bunch of shinobi coming after their camp is pretty much a death sentence after all. This time they didn't say anything when Yuna entered the tent. As soon as she entered the tent, she couldn't help but shake her head. While the bandit boss was vigorously swinging his hips, the woman only lay there unmoving. I really don't get how people could enjoy something like that. Where is the fun in sleeping with a woman if she doesn't squirm under your touch while moaning in pleasure? Oh well, might as well kill him while he is distracted. Yuna casually approached the bandit boss and pierced his neck with a senbon, killing him instantly without spilling much blood. The woman under him widened her eyes in shock when the man on top of her suddenly slumped over. She probably would have exclaimed something in shock if it wasn't for the gentle hand that carefully covered her mouth. When the woman's almost dead eyes met Yuna's ocean-deep purple eyes, she immediately calmed down. Yuna gave her a gentle smile, made a shushing motion, and then showed off the Konoha headband she wore on her upper left arm. The woman, yet again, widened her eyes as she nodded in understanding. Yuna quickly stored the body of the bandit boss inside her weapon holster, created an additional two shadow clones, and transformed herself into the bandit boss. She came out of the tent and immediately gave some orders to the two people guarding the entrance. "Clean up in there. When you are done, I want everyone in this camp to meet in the middle of the camp. I have an important announcement to make." "Yes, boss." Unfortunately for them, the moment they entered the tent, they got killed by Yuna's clones, who quickly copied their appearance and started to spread the word of their meeting. Another 10 minutes passed and quite the large group had gathered in front of a small podium that was hastily created. Yuna was standing in the middle of it, while the three Genin-level bandits stood behind her like it was natural. She casually turned around and eyed the three of them. "Is everybody here?" "Yes, boss. Everyone in this camp is here." "Very good. Well, prepare yourselves for the announcement, all of you." Yuna made a dramatic pause, and as soon as she did, huge fireballs started to fly towards the gathered bandits. Yuna immediately turned around and killed the three Genin-level bandits before they could properly understand the situation, and then jumped into the fray with a vicious smirk on her face as she completed her announcement. "We'll die today." 2 minutes later, not a single bandit was still alive, while Yuna's and Enko's faces seemed to be glowing in satisfaction. Yuna was the first to speak. "Phew, that sure was unlucky. To think we would accidentally stumble into a bandit camp and had no other way up but to fight our way out of it. We really are unlucky." "Yeah, I know what you mean. Isn't it especially weird that the bandits insisted on fighting until every last one of them was dead?" "Yeah, how curious. Oh well, now that we rescued all these captured women, I guess we need to return to Konoha early and escort them back." "We could do that, or I make a bunch of shadow clones to escort them back." Truth be told, my sense of direction is pretty bad, but I am sure we just have to walk in that direction for a while and we will be back on our proper patrol path. Don't want to fail my first sea rake mission after all. After Enko noticed that Yuna clearly wasn't pointing in the direction of their patrol path, she couldn't help but smirk. Haha, that's true. I can't have my first student fail her first sea rank mission after all. My sense of direction is also pretty bad, so just lead the way. Chapter 60, Start of Wave Mission. It has been a few days since Yuna and Enko got their mission, and the duo had just returned and handed in their mission report to the Hokage. Even Yuna couldn't help but feel a little sheepish. Maybe we went a little too far. A little. ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* No matter how suspicious the old man gets, the whole report is flawless. The whole story is cohesive and without any suspicious elements. Even if he tries to investigate it to find out whether the whole thing is true or not, he will find nothing. Hiruzen, meanwhile, was reading the report and his frown grew more and more pronounced by the second. What the hell is this? Although everything is written down professionally and concisely, why does it feel like I am reading a book about the adventures of two girls that stumble from one accident into the next? After he finished reading the report, Hiruzen took a deep drag of his pipe. After exhaling all the smoke, he started speaking. So, in conclusion of your 7-day-long mission, you spent 2 days simply traveling to the border. On the 5 remaining days, you destroyed 6 small bandit camps with about 20 people each, 2 bigger ones with around 50 people each, repelled a shinobi team from IWA that tried to sneak in through the land of grass, and got rid of 2 B-rank missing nen that have a bingo book entry. Did I forget anything? Okay, now that he lists them all back to back, we really have overdone it quite a bit. Despite her inner thoughts, Yuna shook her head with an innocent smile, which was mimicked by Enko. No, that was all of it. Hiruzen could only groan when he saw Yuna's innocent smile. Whatever, it is not like they did something bad. The fewer bandits, the better, and those missing nin won't be missed either. Whatever, just get out of my office. Next time at least show some restraint, please. The duo was just about to exit the office when a small dog jumped in through the window and immediately started to speak. Hokage-sama, there is some trouble with Kakashi's Tain. Hiruzen's face immediately fell when he heard that. Not because Kakashi's Tain was in trouble, but because Yuna was here and heard about it. The mix of excitement and interest painted a rather obvious picture of what she was thinking about. Damn it, can't this day just end? 2 days before Yuna returned to Konoha, it was yet again time for Team 7 to get a new mission. After a bit of searching, Hiruzen found the scroll he was looking for and pulled it out. Seeing the D written on the scroll, Naruto's eyelids twitched a little. Yo, old man, you got the wrong one. The one you are looking for has AC written on it. Although the other 2 genins didn't say anything, Naruto could clearly feel that they had similar thoughts. Now, Naruto. It is still too early for your team to take on a C-rank mission. It is normal for genins to do many more D-rank missions so they can get used to the shinobi life and get accustomed to working together. A genin, fresh out of the academy, simply isn't ready for C-rank missions and needs more training from their jonin sensei. Oh? But didn't you give Nasan one? Hiruzen could immediately feel a few eyes staring at him accusingly. Haha, Naruto, what might you be talking about? Hee, no need to play dumb. We are living together after all. What kind of D-rank mission takes more than 1 day? She hasn't come home for 5 days now. Naruto and Hiruzen kept eye contact for a while before Hiruzen let out an annoyed sigh. Fine, Kakashi, do you think Team 7 is ready for a C-rank mission? Feeling 3 pairs of eyes zero in on him, Kakashi could only smile wryly. Do I even have a choice? Oh well, considering Naruto's and to a lesser extent Sasuke's strength, there shouldn't be any problems. There will be no problems, Hokage-sama. I understand. I already have a mission for you in mind. You will be charged with protecting an important individual. This immediately got the attention of the three genins. Even Sasuke seemed to be excited to finally get a real mission. He has actually been waiting for a while now. I will get someone to call him over right now. 2 minutes later, a drunken old man stumbled into the room. What the hell? It is just a bunch of weak-looking brats. Especially the one with the huge forehead looks like she is about to fall over from a gust of wind. Who are you calling weak, shitty old man? Now, Sakura, calm down. This is probably our client, after all. That's right. I am the bridge-building expert Tazuna, and you are expected to protect me until I get back to my country and finish building the bridge. At 8 in the morning of the next day, there was a slight commotion in front of Konoha's gates. Holy crap, Kakashi-sensei is actually on time. Naruto quickly put his hands together and flared his chakra. Kai. What the hell, why can't I get out of this jinjutsu? While Sakura chuckled a little and one of the corners of Sasuke's mouth started to twitch, Tazuna had no idea what was going on, while Kakashi pretended that he didn't hear anything. Well, let's start walking. It will take us a while to reach the land of waves at a civilian's pace. While the group was slowly walking towards the land of waves, Naruto noticed something rather peculiar. 2 chakra signatures are following us. They are around mid-Chunin. Let's see what Kakashi-sensei thinks about that. Kakashi-sensei, since this is our first C-rank mission, I would like to ask a few questions. Kakashi immediately noticed that something was off when Naruto spoke first C-rank a little bit louder than the remaining sentences. Has he noticed someone following us? He probably wants the enemies to underestimate our strength by revealing that kind of information, but considering his rather ridiculous sensing range, I doubt anyone could spy in on our conversation yet. He is probably used to Yuna's even more ridiculous range and doesn't know what is considered normal yet. For now, let's play along and see how he handles the situation. Sure, go ahead. We are still in the land of fire after all. The chances of us being attacked is pretty much 0. Naruto's face took on an innocent expression as he asked his question. Since we are finally out of Konoha for a C-rank mission, won't we fight a ninja or TWO? This should be really exciting, right? So, 2 people, huh? More importantly, how the hell does he manage to look stupid and innocent while revealing that 2 enemies are approaching us? Although there probably is no better facade to trick your enemies, it isn't exactly easy to look innocent when you are a shinobi that actually gets paid to kill people. Well, he hasn't killed anyone yet, maybe that is the reason why he can still smile like that. I don't think so. C-rank missions rarely involve fighting other shinobi. As soon as Kakashi finished speaking, both Naruto and Kakashi noticed that Tazuna seemed to fidget a little after hearing Kakashi's sentence. The 2 gave each other knowing looks before Naruto started speaking again with an annoyed pout on his face. That's so lame. I wanted to defeat a strong ninja and be immediately promoted to Chunin. Both of them are Chunin level, huh? Might as well have my genin give it a shot then. Kakashi chuckled a little before he answered Naruto. I see. If some shinobi appear, I will just have you guys handle it then. Naruto's eyes immediately sparkled with excitement. Really? That's awesome, Kakashi-sensei. That was rather well done. I have already noticed that Yuna is incredibly quick-witted, but Naruto isn't too bad either. A pity the other 2 aren't paying him any attention. Stealthily informing your teammates about something isn't easy, after all. Although the sign language the ANBU uses is pretty useful, it only hides what you talked about and can't hide that you just transmitted some information to your teammates. After another 10 minutes of walking, Naruto felt that the two chakra signatures seemed to have stopped a few hundred meters in front of the group, and after a few additional moments of walking, Naruto noticed two small puddles of water on the ground. He had to use all his willpower to not roll his eyes at the obvious trap. Kakashi, meanwhile, was suppressing a chuckle when he saw Naruto's reaction to the trap in front of them. It might be obvious if you are looking for a trap, but someone inexperienced could easily oversee those water puddles. As soon as the group passed the two puddles, two shinobi that had a chain connected to each other jumped out of it and immediately entangled Kakashi with it. Both of them yanked on the chain and immediately tore Kakashi to shreds. First one. Kakashi-sensei. The two immediately appeared in front of Naruto and tried to entangle him with the chain as well. Second O. POW bang asterisk. Naruto smashed his fist into the face of his assailant, which caused him to be sent flying into a tree. Sasuke, meanwhile, threw a shuriken at the chain that connected the two shinobi and then nailed it into a tree with a precise kunai throw, just in time for Naruto to punch the second one in the stomach to send him flying as well and cause the chain connecting the two of them to disconnect. Not bad, Sasuke. How about we take one each? HMPH, I will finish mine quickly, so try not to die before I am done with mine. Haha, as arrogant as always, ha. Oh well, let's do it. Sakura, please protect Tazuna from possible stray fire while we deal with these two. Don't want our client to die from a random kunai after all. Although Sakura had no idea what was going on, she only nodded her head in understanding. Blocking stray kunai is something she has the confidence to do. The two enemy shinobi gave each other a nod and then charged forward. While one of them was aiming his throwing weapons at Naruto and Sasuke, the other one was bluntly charging at Tazuna while ignoring everything else. Naruto immediately understood what was going on. They really are after Tazuna, huh? Instead of C rank, this mission is probably B rank, I bet Nei-san will be really jealous when I tell her about it. I can't wait. Considering the current situation, Naruto quickly made a decision. Sasuke, help Sakura protect Tazuna, I got this. Naruto quickly took out a bunch of shurikens and threw them at the weapons that were currently being thrown at Sasuke and himself. Although Sasuke was skeptical at first, after scanning the situation he quickly realized that Naruto's shuriken would perfectly block the ones used by the hostile shinobi. Although he was slightly surprised by Naruto's accuracy, he, nevertheless, acted quickly and appeared between Sakura and the approaching shinobi. Sasuke was just about to clash with him when Kakashi appeared and knocked him out instantly. That was pretty good. Good reactions from Naruto and Sasuke, and good job remembering to assign someone to protect the client Naruto. Although you reacted quickly after receiving orders from Naruto, you froze up when the battle started. I won't blame you since that is pretty normal for fresh genin, but this is definitely something we have to work on. Instead of reacting to Kakashi's assessment, a rather awkward silence descended onto the battlefield as soon as Kakashi finished speaking. The first one to break it was Naruto. What the hell, Kakashi-sensei? Things were just about to get interesting, why did you interrupt us like that? Now, Naruto, calm down. We shouldn't leave our client anxious for too long after all. You are talking about the client that paid the price for a C-rank mission and wants the team he hired to complete a B-rank mission. I don't see any reason to not have him struggle a bit. Tazuna's face immediately paled when he heard Naruto casually exposing his lies. Considering how the people that were supposed to escort him were currently looking at him, he already knew that he was in trouble. After quite a bit of back and forth, a decision was finally made. Team 7 would continue the mission, but Kakashi would send Pakken, one of his summon ninja dogs, back to Konoha and make a request for backup. After everything was resolved, Team 7 continued their journey to the Land of Waves, unaware of what kind of dangers were awaiting them there. Chapter 61, Zabuza Momocha. It has been a day since Team 7 had been attacked. After reaching the sea, a man with a small boat ferried them over to the land of waves, where they quickly disembarked and quietly made their way to a nearby forest to hide from possible observers. After the battle finished, Sasuke would occasionally glare at Naruto, and the more time passed, the more often he did so. Naruto has finally had enough and snapped. "Sasuke, if you want to say something, then just do so. You constantly glaring at me is getting annoying." This, however, seemed to make Sasuke even more annoyed. Nevertheless, he still answered Naruto. "How did you manage to actually attack those two? While we were at the academy, you were one of the weakest in the class. How did you manage to get this much of a boost in strength?" Naruto could only roll his eyes at how simple-minded Sasuke is. "Rather than being interested in my strength, he thinks that I used some kind of trick to suddenly power up and wants to do the same as well. Just how hungry for power is he? The reason why I was one of the weakest in the academy was because I wanted to be seen that way. I won't give you any details, but some nasty things were happening in the background that prevented me from showing my real strength. Now that I have graduated, there is no longer a reason to hide, so I'm showing what I can do." Sasuke only sneered at Naruto when he heard that Naruto was holding back. In his opinion, holding back was just stupid, especially if it makes people weaker than you make fun of you. What a stupid lie. If Naruto actually had that kind of strength during his days at the academy, he would have obviously taught everyone that was mocking him a lesson. Guess he doesn't want to tell me how a loser like him suddenly got enough strength to almost match my own. Well, I wouldn't tell him a secret like that either, but I will get it out of him sooner rather than later. Sasuke was just about to give a snarky reply when Naruto's head snapped to the side and his eyes widened in surprise. "Shinobi approaching. Jonin level." Naruto immediately took out two kunai and placed himself between the approaching enemy and Tazuna, while Sasuke and Sakura were only giving him weird looks. Kakashi still looked rather casual, but since he had actually put away the book he had been reading, he was clearly prepared for battle as well. Another few seconds passed before Sakura started to speak. "What are you raising a false alarm for like that, Id? Duck." Naruto and Kakashi reacted pretty much simultaneously, Kakashi due to his vast experience on the battlefield and Naruto because of his superior sensing capability. Naruto pushed Tazuna's head down, while Kakashi did the same for Sakura, while Sasuke managed to duck in time on his own. Just a split second later, a huge sword came flying above their heads and then got stuck into a tree. Moments later, a tall muscular man stepped onto the handle of the sword. He was shirtless, had black, short, spiky hair and barely visible eyebrows while covering his face with bandages. Naruto immediately grew tense when he saw that man. Kakashi-sensei, seems like this B-rank mission just got upgraded to A rank. That seems to be the case, Naruto. Demon of the Hidden Mist, Zabuza Momocha, I didn't expect to encounter someone like him on this mission. Indeed. I didn't expect to meet the famous Sharingan Kakashi either. How about you just hand over the old man and we part ways without a conflict? Protect Tazuna. This one is in a completely different league. I will have to get serious. After he said that, Kakashi pulled up his headband and revealed his Sharingan. To think I would see the famous Sharingan, I'm honored, but... Zabuza vanished and reappeared on a nearby source of water. Let's see how great your Sharingan works when you can't see properly. Water release, hiding in mist technique. A dense mist immediately appeared and flooded the whole area, making it pretty much impossible to see further than a few meters ahead of yourself. Be careful, Zabuza is an expert in silent killing. Stay close together and protect each other. I will deal with him. Although Kakashi sounded confident, in his mind he could only curse his bad luck again and again. Not only did he encounter a Jonin-level threat on his first real mission with his Tain, but it was someone with a very effective counter against the Sharingan as well. An oppressive silence descended onto the battlefield while everyone was waiting for Zabuza's attack. Suddenly, Zabuza's voice seemed to echo over the battlefield from everywhere at the same time. 8 choices. Liver, lungs, spine, cervical vein, neck vein, brain, kidneys, and heart. Which one should I go for? Dense killing intent flooded the whole battlefield. Kakashi put his hands together in front of him and unleashed his own presence, causing it to violently clash with Zabuza's. Feeling 2 very powerful wills clash against each other, Naruto quickly took a look at his 2 teammates and almost clicked his tongue in annoyance. Sakura was completely frozen up, which, truth be told, wasn't much of a surprise for Naruto. This kind of battle is not something a normal genin should experience, after all. Seeing that Sasuke was almost hyperventilating at the pressure, however, left Naruto quite disappointed. Is that really all he amounts to? Nasen told me about the tragedy of the Uchiha clan, so I'm not really surprised at the way he acts in front of other people, but why is he so weak? Shouldn't he push himself with everything he's got? Take every opportunity he gets to improve his strength. Have an iron-like will that keeps pushing him forward. Why does his will crumble this easily? What Naruto didn't understand was that he was the abnormal one. Or rather, the people around him were abnormal. Now that he has grown older, he understood just how ridiculous it was for Yuna to basically become his guardian at the age of 3. He understood just how miserable his life would have been without his sister, who shouldered everything for him without a single complaint and allowed him to have a pretty normal childhood. The second abnormal person he met was, naturally, Hinata. Instead of having her whole family killed like Sasuke, she was thrown away by her family instead. Left to die on the streets of Konoha. Naruto could still remember how Hinata was when she first arrived at their home. She was completely broken and pretty much incapable of speaking a full sentence. Despite that, she kept pushing herself, and with the help of the twins, she managed to build herself up again. Every day she grew more and more confident, and after a few months, she had reached a level where she basically didn't care about her previous family anymore. Due to constantly being together with these 2 people, Naruto actually got a rather weird image of people that went through some hardships in their life. While Naruto was contemplating Sasuke's reactions, the fight continued. Zabuza was still hidden, while Kakashi was still awaiting his surprise attack. Naruto, however, could easily track Zabuza's position inside the mist, and as soon as he noticed his intentions, his eyes widened. His target is Tazuna. He quickly informed Kakashi about the situation and then got into a position to defend himself. Moments later, Zabuza appeared in front of Team 7 and swung his cleaver in an attempt to behead Tazuna. Naruto appeared between the 2 and lifted 2 kunai to stop Zabuza's blow. As soon as Zabuza's sword hit Naruto's kunai, Naruto's feet dug into the ground as a groan escaped his lips. He was just about to activate Kurama's chakra when Kakashi appeared and attempted to stab Zabuza through the heart, which Zabuza, unfortunately, managed to avoid. "Are you all right, Naruto?" Naruto slightly shook his hands to get the numbness out of them before he answered. "Yeah, I'm fine, but this guy hits really hard. If I wanted to fight him, I would probably need 2 or maybe even 3 tails." Although the other 2 members of Team 7 were rather confused by that statement, Kakashi actually knew what Naruto meant. Naruto had given Kakashi some information about his capabilities to make it easier to assign the appropriate roles to them in case of an emergency. That also meant that Kakashi was aware that 3 tails were currently still out of the question. I'm surprised, Kakashi. One of those brats actually seems to be pretty decent. Not only did he not freeze up after feeling my killing intent, he even managed to stop one of my strikes. As one of the demon twins, it is only natural for him to be capable of at least this much, but all of that doesn't really matter, since he will die today. As soon as Kakashi finished that sentence, he pumped a massive amount of chakra into his left eye, which caused the Sharingan to spin like crazy. Let's finish this, Zabuza. Chapter 62, Fighting Zabuza. The fight between Zabuza and Kakashi was still in full throttle. Zabuza had already discarded stealth and was currently doing a head-on battle against Kakashi. The more those two clashed, the more annoyed Naruto became. Damn it, if I could go and support Kakashi-sensei actively, this would have been over a long time ago. I don't trust Sasuke enough to leave Tazuna's protection to him. Or rather, he will probably charge at the moment I make a move and forget everything else. Having the last Uchiha die while he is on a mission with me really isn't a good thing. How did this mission turn from protect the client to don't let the idiot charge and die? Just when Naruto was about to go into another mental rant, he saw Kakashi being flung away into the water at the exact position where Zabuza was already waiting and had his chakra infused into the water. Shit, how the hell did that happen? If Kakashi-sensei gets trapped, things will get seriously dangerous. Naruto crossed his fingers in front of him. Shadow Clone Jatsui. Another two Naruto popped up beside the original one. I don't think two clones will be much of a shield against Zabuza, but it is better than nothing. Kakashi-sensei is in deep trouble. I am going in to support him. Keep protecting Tazuna. Naruto immediately started sprinting towards the water where Kakashi was just about to be trapped inside Zabuza's jutsu. And, to no one's surprise, Sasuke was also running after Naruto. Damn it, he really acted like I thought he would. Whatever, no time to think about it now. I need to help Kakashi-sensei. Red chakra bubbled out of Naruto and formed a fox-like cloak with two tails around him. Instead of walking on two legs, Naruto bent forwards and started to run on his hands and feet, which was made feasible due to the chakra cloak mimicking the form of a fox. His speed increased immediately. He quickly reached the water and started running on it like it was no obstacle at all. Considering how much he trained his chakra control, walking on water was an easy matter for him. Oh? Are you fine with your two teammates knowing about this? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Saving Kakashi-sensei takes priority. Hee, that's true, I guess. At least showing off my chakra made the Uchiha Brett stop his reckless charge. Ugh, please don't mention him. He will probably pester me every day from now on to find out where I got this power. Why not show him? That should be fun. A twinkle of mischief appeared in Naruto's eyes before his face became serious again. That might be rather interesting, but let's talk about it later. It is time to get busy. Zabuza was just about to gloat at Kakashi for trapping him when a red chakra fist approached his stomach. Although he was surprised, he wasn't at the Jonin level for nothing and managed to block the fist with his sword. Blocking that kind of attack with only one hand and without proper preparations, however, had some consequences. Despite securing his feet on the water with chakra, he was pushed back a few meters and, as a consequence of that, failed to maintain Kakashi's water prison. Naruto quickly scanned the area and sighed in relief when he noticed that no hidden clones had appeared to go after Tazuna. Sorry Kakashi-sensei, but I had to leave our client almost unprotected to save you. Kakashi quickly glanced at his remaining genin team and could only shake his head at what he saw. Sakura was at least still standing next to Tazuna, but Sasuke was standing smack in the middle of nowhere, staring at Naruto like he had grown a second head. Don't worry about it, Naruto. Since you saved me, I can't exactly complain, can I? As soon as Kakashi finished that sentence, Zabuza appeared behind Naruto and swung his huge sword in an attempt to behead him. Naruto, however, already saw the attack incoming. Just like the first attack he blocked, he lifted up two kunai and stopped the attack head-on. This time, though, he didn't falter and stood his ground. Kakashi moved as well and was already moments away from piercing a kunai through Zabuza's shoulder. Zabuza wanted to pull his sword back, but to his surprise, his sword was grabbed by a red hand entirely made out of red bubbling chakra. This slight delay was enough for Kakashi's attack to hit its target and pierce Zabuza's shoulder, making one of his arms useless for now. Zabuza quickly jumped back to get some distance from the jeweler. He looked at his limp left arm and couldn't help but frown. This has gotten rather bad. Where in the world does that blonde kid get all that power from? After trapping Karkasha, I thought it was game over, but moments later one of my arms became useless and I am suddenly facing another powerful enemy. The brat isn't at Karkasha's level but is more than enough to spell my doom if he supports Karkasha. Guess I will have Haku pull me over. Before Zabuza could finish his thoughts, a senbon needle came flying and pierced through his neck. While Karkasha was surprised, Naruto really wanted to start cursing himself. Damn it, if Nasen finds out I was too occupied with my enemy to notice someone else approaching, she will surely scold me heavily. Kurama, you better keep quiet about this or I swear I will drag you into this pit together with me. Yeah, don't worry about it. My lips are sealed tight. Naruto nodded in satisfaction before he put his attention on the person that had just arrived. Thank you for helping me take care of Zabuza. I have been hunting him for quite a while now. Naruto immediately understood who that masked person was. A hunter nin, huh? Guess it isn't surprising that someone like Zabuza would have someone like that following him around. As someone who was once part of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, his body should have tons of secrets that Kuri would rather not reveal to the outside. Kakashi and the hunter-nin talked for a short while, and after checking that Zabuza was actually dead, the hunter-nin took his corpse and left. For some reason, Naruto felt that something was off, but couldn't put his finger on it. He quickly forgot about that when Kakashi, who was still standing next to him, pulled down his headband to cover his Sharingan and then staggered a little. Naruto instantly became worried, but Kakashi only waved him off. Don't worry about that. The Sharingan isn't exactly chakra efficient when it is used by non-Uchiha. Naruto nodded in acknowledgement and deactivated his chakra cloak. This time, it was his turn to falter a little. Although he hasn't exhausted his chakra as Kakashi did with his Sharingan, Naruto could clearly feel the strain using 2 tails put on him. How in the world can Nasen already use 3 tails? Aren't we doing the same training? I wouldn't worry about that too much. She has been a monster from day one. Being able to endure 2 tails worth of my chakra at your age is already quite the achievement. Naruto could only chuckle at that. Yeah, I am aware how peculiar Nasen is. Kakashi and Naruto returned to Tazuna and the rest of Team 7, and just when Kakashi was about to start talking, Naruto's head, yet again, snapped into a certain direction. Kakashi immediately got alerted when he saw that, but after noticing Naruto's smile, he relaxed a little. Seems like our reinforcements have arrived. Moments later, 2 people landed in front of Team 7. These 2 were Yuna and Enko. Yuna was the first to speak. Yo, you ordered some reinforcements. Here we are. Hee, what happened to the blonde brat and you, Kakashi? Looks like he were put through the ringer. Kakashi quickly explained what they had been through so far, but instead of being surprised, Enko and Yuna had a very different reaction. An excited grin appeared on their face as they licked their lips like predators in front of an especially juicy piece of meat. While Sakura and Sasuke instinctively trembled in fear, Naruto and Kakashi could only smile wryly. They surprisingly had the same thought at the same time. Somehow, I pity whatever enemy might appear in front of us from now on. Chapter 63, at Tazuna's house. After Kakashi finished explaining the situation to Yuna and Enko, the group made their way towards Tazuna's home. Tazuna told the group that they could stay there while he finished building the bridge. While they were walking, Sasuke was constantly glaring at Naruto, but Naruto completely ignored him. Naruto himself couldn't help but frown. He knew something was off, but he couldn't put his finger on it. What's wrong, Naruto? You seem to be unhappy about something. I don't know, Nasen. I just feel like something was off about the situation with Zabuza, but I don't know what. Oh, I see. You probably think so, because there really was something off. Kakasha said that the Hunter-nin took Zabuza away with him, but why would he do that? He could dispose of Zabuza's secrets right there. I guess that Shinobi was Zabuza's ally and Zabuza is actually still alive. As soon as Yuna finished her explanation, the whole group, except for Yuna, froze in place. Yuna, on the other hand, only chuckled a little and continued speaking like what she just said wasn't a big deal. What? You hadn't figured that out yet? Kakashi could only groan and facepalm. Yuna is right, probably. Why not just dispose of the body right there? Why use a Senbon to kill him? This whole thing is very suspicious. Zabuza is, very likely, still alive. While everyone was still in shock, the group reached Tazuna's house and were greeted by a young woman in her late 20s. This is my daughter Tsunami. Tsunami, these are the shinobi that was sent to protect me. Tsunami gave everyone a polite greeting which was returned by the group. They made their way to the living room and sat down. We should start preparing for the next battle against Zabuza. I have no doubt that he will have some more reinforcements during the next battle. That Hunter-nin will probably be there and maybe even more people. If another Jonin appears, things will get really dangerous. Luckily, we got some reinforcements as well. Anko is a Jonin just like me and Yuna. No need to worry about her strength. We spent last week raiding bandit camps and hunting missing nins, so no worries. What Anko wanted to say was that we patrolled the border and, completely out of coincidence, got into a few combat situations that couldn't have been avoided. Yes. That totally is what happened. I misspoke just now. Just forget about it. What Yuna said is 100% the truth. Kakashi repeatedly looked from Anko to Yuna, and after contemplating some more he simply decided to forget what he just heard. His instincts were telling him that, for the sake of his sanity, he shouldn't ask any questions. Anyway, it will take some time for Zabuza to be back on his feet, so we should get some training in while we have time. Training? Even Anko couldn't help but wonder what kind of training could help someone get stronger in just a few days. Indeed. It might not make a difference if your enemy is someone like Zabuza, but it might give you an edge against other enemies we might face. That sounds really stupid. All eyes in the room locked onto the little boy who just said that. Inari. You can't speak to our guest like that. They are here to protect your grandpa. This is Inari, my son. Please forgive what he just said. Mom, these people are just going to die anyway. Inari. Oh my. Why don't you tell us why we are all going to die? You got me really curious. Kakashi immediately got nervous when Yuna was the first to speak. He always had difficulties reading her intentions and never really understood her goals. He doubted that Yuna would actually attack a child that said something stupid, but he would rather be a little bit more cautious than to regret it later. Because there is no way you can win against Kato. Although Inari said that with confidence, Yuna only looked at him with confusion. She turned her head and looked at Kakashi. Could you give me a little reminder of who Gatu is? Wasn't it Zabuza? He is the guy that hides Zabuza. Huh? Doesn't that mean he is just a moneybag? Yuna looked back at Inari and was still completely confused by the situation until she finally understood what was going on. No way, you actually think Gatu is the threat? Haha, you can't be serious. Inari, naturally, got angry at how easily she dismissed Gatu's threat. Of course, he is a threat. He has been terrorizing this land for a long time now. Haha, sorry about that, but you seem to have a little misunderstanding of how this world works. Gatu is a threat to you. Civilians. We shinobi don't give a shit about him. If Zabuza wasn't following his own code of honor, he would simply kill Gatu and all of his goons and take all the money he wanted. That would probably result in him being hunted with much more fervor than he currently is, but it could still easily be done. Remember this well, kid. Might makes right. No matter how much money or worthless goons you have, it takes only one powerful shinobi to take it all away. Inari was completely stunned by that. In his mind, Gato was invincible, but now someone who doesn't even see him as a threat appeared. His eye scanned the shinobi in front of him and stopped at Kakasha, who seemed to be the leader of the group. Is this true? Kakasha was a little stunned by him suddenly becoming part of this conversation. He threw a glare at Yuna, but she somehow seemed to have managed to get into a very deep and interesting conversation with Naruto since she finished her speech 3 seconds ago. Kakashi could only awkwardly scratch his head and answer the question. Well, truth be told, I don't really care about Gato either. If I wasn't unsure whether there was another Jonin-level guard, I would probably sneak into his base and get rid of him in a day or two. Inari was completely shell-shocked by that revelation. The invincible image he had of Gato slowly started to crumble. He unsteadily walked up the stairs of the room and disappeared into the next floor. Yuna could see the worried look on Tazuna and Tsunami's faces, so she decided to re-enter the conversation. Don't worry about him. The first step to getting rid of a demon is to stop believing that it is invincible. Inari is currently taking that step and needs some time to think things through. Everyone was looking at Yuna in disbelief after that explanation. And you are calling me a big softy. I have already mentioned it rather early, but I dislike seeing children suffer. Inari is different from Sasuke. He might act tough, but he is probably crying every night due to whatever he has experienced. If a few words can help him get out of that, then why not? Yeah, that might be, but I'm still calling you a big softy. Fine, whatever. Kakashi was the first one to regather his wits. Yuna, did you do that on purpose? Yuna only looked at him with confusion in her eyes. Did what on purpose? I only told the stupid brat how the world works. Power over money, that's how it is. Kakashi noticed how dismissive Yuna was about all that just happened and actually started to think that this was a coincidence as well. There is no way that is actually the case. She even analyzed the situation for Tazuna and Tsunami after all. It is really impossible to get a read on her. While Kakashi was still thinking, Yuna stood up and stretched a little. I am going for a wall, I mean I'm going to scout out the terrain around the house. See you later. Sure, have fun, Yuna. See you later, Nei-san. Yep, see you soon, Anko, Naruto, and the rest of you as well. After giving her farewells, Yuna casually walked out of the house while everyone except for Naruto and Anko looked at her completely dumbfounded. Wait a moment, Anko. Is it really okay to let Yuna leave like that? MHH. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be okay, Kakashi? She knows what she is doing. No, that is not what I'm talking about. Aren't you supposed to be her sensei? Why do you allow her to leave just like that? Oh. Now that you mentioned it, I was indeed supposed to be her sensei, huh? Since we spent the last week having fun together, I totally forgot about that. By the way, did you know that Yuna can spit out a senbon needle hard enough to pierce through 2 bandits at once? And I am not talking about the squishy parts. Nope. Straight through the head. Naruto's eyes immediately shone in excitement. Oh, I know about that one. Once while we were sparring against each other, Nei-san actually managed to hit both me and Hinata with the same senbon. It took me quite a while to realize where that senbon even came from. Anko's eyes also started to become excited. You are her little brother, right? I bet there are a ton of abnormal stories about her. Come on, tell me a few and in return, I will tell you how our border patrol mission went. Haha, that's a deal. Guess I will just start. So, there was this one time. While Naruto and Enko started to exchange stories, Kakashi had no idea what to do about the situation. While Enko and Naruto didn't seem to be worried about Yuna at all, he couldn't help but feel worried. Naruto actually noticed that and couldn't help but chuckle a little. Hee, what are you so worried about, Kakashi-sensei? Ne-san has been fighting everything around her pretty much from the start. Even if she gets trapped in a dangerous situation, she will just escape it. Although Kakashi was reluctant to admit it, he could only nod his head in agreement. Someone who could escape from an ANBU at the age of 3, naturally, wouldn't be caught easily. The remaining people in the room, meanwhile, looked at the people currently talking in disbelief. Naruto and Enko's stories about Yuna were already unbelievable enough, but Kakashi actually seemed to acknowledge them as well, while basically admitting that, even if a Jonin were to appear, she would survive the encounter. The most affected by all of this was actually Sasuke, who clenched his fist again and again. How did she get this strong? No. It isn't just her. Naruto also got much more powerful after he left the academy. What kind of secret do they have? Did they discover something? Some kind of secret power? A secret way to increase your strength, maybe. I need to know. I absolutely need to find out about it and use it myself. This and my hatred should be enough to finally surpass Itachi. Chapter 64, Meeting Haku. In a meadow, deep inside the forest of the Land of Waves, a young girl was laying in the grass and was seemingly asleep. This girl was, of course, Yuno Uzumaki, but rather than being asleep, she was in deep meditation. Inside her mindscape, a huge fox, Kurama, was sitting cross-legged with the palms of his hands put together in front of him. On top of his head sat a mature beauty who seemed to be in her late 20s. She seemed to be a mature version of Yuna, and she was sitting in the same position as Kurama as well. This was how Yuna's soul looked while in her mindscape if she didn't try to conceal it. Occasionally, a wisp of red violent chakra would leave Kurama's body and enter into Yuna's, while a wisp of blue soothing chakra would occasionally exit Yuna's body and enter Kurama's. This was the process of removing the corruption and hatred from Kurama's chakra. Yuna has started this process after the two Kuramas got back their yin-yang balance and, naturally, taught Naruto how to do it as well. The further Kurama's chakra was refined, the easier it would be to use, and the purer it became, the more it would increase the duo's strength. Like that, Yuna and Kurama spent the whole night refining more and more of Kurama's chakra. Guess that's it, for now. Someone is approaching me. How are you feeling, Kurama? Better. Much better. Like a burden I didn't even know about is slowly being lifted from me. Yuna nodded her head in acknowledgement. That was pretty much the expected outcome for her. Meanwhile, in the outside world, a beautiful-looking young woman was approaching the sleeping Yuna. She had long black hair and a kind face. She was currently carrying a pouch that was filled to the brim with all kinds of medicine. She, Haku, is the hunter-nin that helped Zabuza fake his death. After she came a bit closer to Yuna, she noticed the Konoha headband that Yuna had tied to her upper arm, and for a split second, some killing intent leaked out of her, but as soon as it came, it vanished. Haku reached forward with one of her arms in an attempt to wake up Yuna, but before she could do so, Yuna spoke while her eyes were still closed. "Can I do something for you?" Although Haku was startled by Yuna actually being awake and hoped that she hadn't noticed her killing intent, she still answered with a kind smile on her face. "I was just curious why someone was sleeping in the middle of the forest. May I ask what you were doing here this early in the morning?" Yuna shrugged her shoulders and answered, "Getting some training done." "And what about you?" Yuna opened one of her eyes and quickly scanned over Haku and ended up keeping eye contact with her. "Miss Chunin." Haku's body shuddered a little when Yuna scanned her. She felt like all of her secrets were exposed instantly, but when Yuna actually called her a Chunin, her eyes widened and she immediately jumped back and got ready for combat. Yuna, however, was still lazing around on the ground, seemingly not even noticing the tense atmosphere. What is wrong? Why aren't you getting ready to fight? You are pretty decent at acting, but I can see your hesitation. You don't want this fight to happen, right? Haku, however, didn't say anything and just prepared herself for a fight. Yuna couldn't help but roll her eyes. Look here, little girl. I have my own agenda, and fighting you here doesn't fit it at all. If you get lost now, we can just forget this encounter ever happened, but if you force this fight... Yuna released the foam hold she had on her chakra, resulting in a massive amount of chakra flooding the clearing. I am happy to oblige. Haku almost staggered when she was hit by the presence of Yuna's chakra. She couldn't believe such a young girl could have such a massive chakra pool. She immediately lowered her weapons a little when she realized that this fight might actually end up fatal for her. What is your agenda? That is a secret, of course, but if everything works out the way I want it to, I guarantee you won't be dissatisfied by it, either. Although Haku very much doubted that, she wasn't exactly in a position where she could make demands. She quickly decided to retreat for now and tell Zabuza about her encounter. Someone as powerful as Yuna will be an important piece in the following battle. Seems like he made the correct decision. Guess I will be taking my leave then. I don't think you can calmly collect herbs while I am nearby. Oh. The name is Yuno Uzumaki, by the way. You should probably write it down. It will become important in the future, haha. My name is Haku. I am not looking forward to meeting you on a battlefield, but will still fight you if I have to. Oh, and by the way, I am actually a boy. Yuna only scoffed at that last comment. Is she trying to throw me off balance with that supposed shocker? Guess I will have to counterattack. I see Haku, the boy. I am actually looking forward to a nice relaxing battle with whoever is coming after me, Haku the boy. By the way, Haku the boy, you didn't really think I would be laying in the middle of the forest without setting up anything to protect me, right? Haku was getting more and more annoyed by Yuna making fun of her like that, but when she heard Yuna's last question, her eyes actually widened in surprise. She quickly started to circulate chakra into her feet to get out of the clearing as soon as possible, but it was already too late. Splat asterisk. Yuna gave Haku, whose face was currently completely covered with cream, another look and couldn't help but chuckle a little. At first, I only did this to prank our so-called teachers, but this is getting more and more enjoyable. But to think I would find myself an ice user. Since Zabuza was just a mercenary, Haku is probably the same. Both of them hold no loyalty to Gato. Guess I have to do some moving behind the scenes to get what I want. With a small smile on her face, Yuna vanished from her position and started to follow Haku back to her base. I hope I can get my hands on some of Gato's goons so I can get the information about his base out of them. Then a little bit of genjutsu here and a little bit of manipulation there, and everything should work out how I want it to. It has been quite a while since I did a proper infiltration. This should be fun tilde. In the meantime, back at Tazuna's house, Team 7 and Enko were currently standing at the edge of the forest. Kakashi had just finished demonstrating his tree-climbing exercise. Sakura and Sasuke were staring at him in wonder. Naruto's eyes clearly showed a look of, how is walking up and down a tree going to help me, and Enko was looking at him accusingly. Kakashi noticed Enko's accusing look and could only cough awkwardly. I was focusing on team building. Although Enko still wasn't completely convinced, she gave a glance at Sasuke and Sakura and understood the problem to some degree. Seeing that Naruto didn't seem to be convinced either, Kakashi spoke to him next. What's wrong, Naruto? You don't seem to be convinced. Yeah, I don't really understand how this could help us in the upcoming fight. Kakashi thought back to what Naruto had done so far and nodded his head in understanding. Considering what you have shown so far, I assume you have already done this exercise before. Well, not really. But I have been doing different exercises that Nasan has been coming up with for a long time now. Oh? That got me a little curious. Can you demonstrate one of them? Naruto, naturally, was happy that he could show off something his sister came up with and joyously walked towards a nearby patch of water. I see, water walking, huh? He already walked on water during the fight with Zabuza, but I thought he could do it because of Kyuubi's chakra coating him. Guess that was incorrect. However, Kakashi's visible eye almost popped out when, instead of walking on water, Naruto grabbed some of it and held a ball entirely made of water in his hands. Naruto hasn't noticed Kakashi's state of mind yet and happily started explaining some more details. It took me quite some time before I could even form the ball. After I mastered it, Hinata, Yuna, and I started throwing it at each other so we could get used to channeling precise amounts of chakra even while we were moving. Naruto reeled back his arm and threw the ball against a tree that was quite a bit away from the group. The water ball impacted the tree with a boom that caused Kakashi's state of mind to deteriorate even further. What the hell was that? How is it still this stable after being thrown? Doesn't this look a lot like the Rasengan? Is that damn girl developing a Rasengan that can be thrown or something? No, wait. She shouldn't even know about the Rasengan. What the hell is going on? Kakashi glanced at Anko, who was standing next to him, and noticed that she only seemed to be slightly surprised by what just happened. He really wanted to ask her how she wasn't surprised by what just happened, but then he realized that Anko had already spent a full week with Yuna alone. I see. I guess her mind is completely shattered at this point. Anko felt that someone was thinking something rude about her, but decided not to bother about it. She couldn't help but be a little impressed by Naruto's chakra control. I thought only Yuna was abnormal, but it seems her little brother is quite the monster as well. Considering Hinata went through the same exercise, I doubt she is normal either. Things are about to get really fun, aren't they? Maybe I should try out this chakra exercise as well. Seems to have worked wonders for Naruto. A smirk appeared on Anko's face when she thought about restarting her training properly. It has been a while since I did some proper training, but I feel like things will get quite chaotic from now on. I would rather not be left on the side when things start to get really hectic. After all, the further you are in the chaos, the more fun you can have. Anko touched her cursed seal, and her face grew vicious. At this point in time, how could I dare not to trust Yuna with removing this? And as soon as it is gone, I can finally go all out during fights again. I can't wait.